Hey basketball fans, welcome back to the channel. In a league where the ultimate measure of a player's greatness often seems to boil down to how many championship rings they have, one of the greatest to ever play the game is pushing back. LeBron James recently spoke out on his Mind the Game podcast with co-host Steve Nash, criticizing what he calls the NBA's ring culture, stating emphatically, "It's never enough." LeBron, a four-time NBA champion himself, is arguing that judging individual players solely by team championships is a flawed and unfair standard. Let's dive into his passionate take and explore why this debate is so central to the NBA's identity. A ring is a team accomplishment. LeBron, who is a four-time NBA MVP, the league's all-time leading scorer, and has made it to the NBA Finals 10 times in his 22-year career, knows a thing or two about individual excellence and team success. Yet, he finds the ring culture baffling, trying to nitpick an individual because he was not able to win a team game or a team match, or whatever the case may be. I don't know where it started, but it's a long conversation, especially when it comes to me individually. James said on his podcast, "It's so weird. It's never enough." He emphasizes a crucial point. A ring is a team accomplishment. This simple statement underpins his entire argument. Basketball, at its core, is a team sport, and a championship requires an entire roster, coaching staff, and organization to come together. Reducing an individual's career to a ring count, he argues, overlooks the immense talent, dedication, and impact they have had on the game. Defending the ringless legends, LeBron didn't just speak generally, he brought up some of the all-time greats who, despite their undeniable brilliance, often get sidelined in greatest of all time discussions because they never won a championship. He directly challenged the notion that players without rings can't be talked about or discussed with those who have won. You sit here and tell me Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash weren't unbelievable? James asserted. Nash, his podcast co-host and a two-time MVP himself who never won a title, was a perfect example right there in the room. LeBron is essentially saying, look beyond the hardware and appreciate the sheer skill and impact these players had on the game. He pointed out the paradox. Jerry West, the actual logo of the NBA, only won one championship despite reaching the finals 9 times. Yet, his legacy is unimpeachable. You can't sit here and tell me that, okay, because he only won one, he can't be in the same room with people who won 2 or 3 or 4. It's just weird to me. James added, NBA versus other sports, a unique standard? LeBron, at 40 years old, also drew comparisons to other major sports, highlighting what he sees as an inconsistent standard. He noted that all-time greats in football like Dan Marino or in baseball like Barry Bonds, neither of whom won a championship, are rarely held to the same ring or bust standard. Their individual greatness is widely acknowledged regardless of team titles. I don't understand where it came from. I don't know where it started. He mused. I just hope we have to appreciate more of what guys have been able to accomplish. What guys have been able to do. He suggests that discussions about championships should be focused on the teams themselves. This team was the greatest team. Or, that team. You can have those conversations. The problem arises when that team accomplishment is solely used to nitpick an individual. The ongoing debate. LeBron's comments reignite a debate that has simmered for years in NBA circles, especially as players like himself continue to reshape the league's record books. Critics of LeBron's stance might point to his own career moves, particularly his decisions to join super teams in pursuit of championships, as evidence that even he, at times, prioritized rings. Some, like Stephen A. Smith and Brian Windhorst, have suggested that LeBron's own actions contributed to the rise of ring culture. Regardless of where you stand, LeBron James is pushing for a more nuanced and holistic appreciation of individual greatness in basketball. It's a call to look beyond the shiny jewelry and recognize the full body of work, the cultural impact, and the sheer talent that many players bring to the game, even if a championship eludes them. What are your thoughts on LeBron James's comments? Do you agree that ring culture is overly emphasized in the NBA? Or do championships remain the ultimate measure of greatness? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please give us a like and subscribe for more in-depth NBA insights. NBA superstar LeBron James is making waves with his recent comments on what he calls the NBA's ring culture, arguing that the singular focus on championships as the ultimate measure of a player's greatness is a flawed and weird standard. Speaking on his Mind the Game podcast with co-host and two-time MVP Steve Nash, James pushed back against the idea that an individual's legacy should be solely defined by team success. A ring is a team accomplishment, James stated, emphasizing that it's unfair to nitpick an individual because he was not able to win a team game or a team match. James, who himself boasts 4 NBA championships and 10 finals appearances across his 22-year career, expressed frustration with the relentless demand for more. "It's so weird. It's never enough," he remarked, highlighting how this culture diminishes players who, despite their individual brilliance, never captured a title. He passionately defended several all-time greats who never won an NBA championship, including his co-host Steve Nash, Allen Iverson, and Charles Barkley. "You sit here and tell me Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash weren't f***ing unbelievable?" James questioned. "Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys because this guy won 1 ring. Or won 2 rings. It's just weird to me." The 40-year-old compared the NBA's championship obsession to other sports, noting that legends like NFL quarterback Dan Marino and MLB's Barry Bonds, neither of whom won a championship, are not typically subjected to the same level of criticism or diminished in their respective sports' greatest of all time discussions. "I don't understand where it came from. I don't know where it started," James said of this discourse. He expressed a desire for a shift in perspective, hoping that fans and analysts would appreciate more of what guys have been able to accomplish, what guys have been able to do. For James, discussions about championships should revolve around the team's achievement. If you happen to have a moment where you're able to share that with your team, that should be discussed. "This team was the greatest team," or "that team," you can have those conversations. His comments ignite a critical conversation about how greatness is defined in the sport of basketball. NBA superstar LeBron James is making waves with his recent comments on what he calls the NBA's ring culture, arguing that the singular focus on championships as the ultimate measure of a player's greatness is a flawed and weird standard. Speaking on his Mind the Game podcast with co-host and two-time MVP Steve Nash, James pushed back against the idea that an individual's legacy should be solely defined by team success. A ring is a team accomplishment, James stated, emphasizing that it's unfair to nitpick an individual because he was not able to win a team game or a team match. James, who himself boasts 4 NBA championships and 10